Imagine a boy stricken with polio, confined to his bed in the heart of Tennessee, an instrument in his hands, a simple harmonica. Little does he know that this is the first step in a life towards becoming the harmonica wizard. Join us as we chronicle the life of DeFord Bailey. And if you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this on OneMikeHistory.com. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by buying me coffee and Patreon page in the description below. I have a new channel, One Mike 2, audio-only episodes. Please subscribe, check it out. But without further ado, let's get started. In a small town, Carthage, Tennessee, the year is 1899, and a future legend is born. His name is DeFord Bailey. Tragedy struck Bailey at a very young age. When he was only 3 years old, he was afflicted with polio, a disease that ravaged his body, stunted his growth, and confined him to his bed. But little did he know that this turn of events would set the stage for musical genius. As a young boy, he was confined to his bed. He couldn't run and play with the other children. Instead, he found companion in a small, unassuming instrument, his harmonica, gifted to him by his family. The harmonica wasn't just an object, it became Bailey's voice, his escape, and eventually a passport to a world beyond his ailments. With his harmonica in hand, Bailey's bedroom transformed into a stage. His family, rich with musical talents themselves, surrounded him with rhythms and melodies, and Bailey listened, played, and learned. And as he grew, so his skill with his harmonica. By early teens, Bailey had already captured the hearts and mind of his immediate family. He then began performing at the local store, where the everyday sounds of life, the laughter of children, the sounds of the passing train, mixed with the tunes that he played, creating a magnetic atmosphere that just drew people in. When he turned 18, he took the leap and moved to Nashville, a bustling city with diverse musical influences ranging from jazz to country. In Nashville, every corner, every street seemed to play a melody, and this fueled Bailey's creativity and honed his harmonica skills to its distinct sharpness. By 1925, his talents would face a formal test. Bailey entered an harmonica contest on WDAD radio. Bailey would showcase his masterful harmonica skills, performing "It Ain't Gonna Rain No More," leading to Bailey securing second place. But it wasn't just a victory in the contest, it was opening the door to something bigger. So he found himself on Nashville's renowned WSM radio. Facing obstacles there, his skin color being one, in a time where racial prejudice often stifled the most talented musicians. Bailey's music was too enchanting to even be ignored, and he quickly earned the moniker, the harmonica wizard. Bailey's talents caught the eye of Dr. Humphrey Bate, the leader of the all-white band known as the Possum Hunters. Despite the racial barriers at the time, Bailey was brought into this band that played mostly hillbilly music, a genre that is the progenitor to bluegrass, country, and even western tunes. With the Possum Hunters, he stretched his strings beyond the familiar boundaries and introduced his harmonica to a deeper, broader audiences, transcending racial divides with each and every performance. He even graced the stage of the Grand Ole Opry, which is a cornerstone of country music. The Grand Ole Opry launched in 1925 in Nashville, Tennessee, and the platform was pivotal in shaping the future of many country musicians. Bailey, with his unique talent, was no exception. He was a regular at the Opry, charming audiences with his remarkable harmonica skills and even playing the occasional guitar tune. His famous rendition of John Henry demonstrated that not only his musical prowess, but his ability to connect his music with the souls of his listeners. His performances were legendary. For over 15 years, he enjoyed stardom that few black musicians at the time could ever dream of. He's often the center of attention, culminating with a 25-minute solo during a 3-hour Opry show. This was a testament to his popularity and the love that people had for his music. However, as the 1940s dawned, so did challenges for Bailey. The landscape of musical rights was changing, and a feud between two major companies, the BMI and ASCAP, over the control of the music played on airways meant that artists were pushed to perform new, freshly licensed songs. Bailey, known for his traditional repertoire and covers, found himself in a bind. The Opry wanted fresh tunes for the BMI banner, but songwriting was uncharted territory for him, and his reluctance and inability to adapt to these demands resulted in a heartbreaking conclusion. He was simply fired from the Grand Ole Opry in 1941. But this doesn't tell the whole picture of Bailey in a segregated America. See, CBS Radio began broadcasting the Opry in 1941, and they adhered to a strict policy against featuring black performers. This policy almost certainly led to Bailey's dismissal, used under the guise of disagreements and the complexities of musical licenses. It camouflaged the prevalence of racial prejudice and cut short a once very vibrant career. George Hay, the Grand Ole Opry's founder, once described Bailey as lazy and that he refused to learn any new songs, even though Bailey had been a dedicated, pivotal part of the Opry almost from the very beginning. These words cut Bailey extremely deeply, not just because they were false, but because they came from someone that he considered to be a friend. Labeled under racial stereotypes and stripped of his place on stage, Bailey retreated from the public eye, earning a living shining shoes. Yet, he never abandoned his harmonica. This instrument has been his constant companion through the highs and lows of life. By the 1960s, reflecting on this shift in societal attitudes, Bailey cautiously started performing. He made appearances on local TV shows and even a memorable performance at Vanderbilt University in 1965. As the years passed, he would once again grace the stage of the Grand Ole Opry, notably during his 75th birthday in 1974. His final performance there was in 1982. Bailey would pass away later that year, marking the end of a man who both charmed and challenged the racial attitudes of the country music scene at the time. His influences were not forgotten. In 1983, Nashville honored him as the first African-American star of the Grand Ole Opry, a recognition of his contributions not just to musical history, but to breaking down racial barriers. Bailey's life tells a story of a man who transformed his limitations into opportunity, and he left behind a legacy of incredible musical talents that were limited by the racial barriers of America at the time. Thank you. This is One Mic Black History. I'm your host, Country Boy. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at OneMicHistory.com. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so on my Patreon page, my Buy Me Coffee in the description below. Also, check out One Mic 2. It's my audio-only channel. It is also in the description below. And peace.